Here we go, 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 here we go. It is markets in the morning or afternoon. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Welcome to Markets in the Morning. Today is Thursday, February 8th, 2024. This is Markets in the Morning, where we take a look at the price action at the cryptocurrency market, including the Bitcoin price chart, the altcoin market. Take a peek over there at the stock market as it opened up 4 hours ago. We'll take a peek over there at precious metals like gold and the US dollar currency index, or the DXY, and take a peek over there at any type of financial news and any type of crypto news that's going on this morning, afternoon, as we have Bitcoin sitting up here at $45,000 to kick off the day. Obviously, we are very late for markets in the morning today. We're running about 4 hours late today. I do apologize for that. It was a series of events that just did not go the right way this morning that ended up having it run like this. And I do really apologize. It absolutely was completely out of my control. But, you know, if there's a will, there's a way. We made it happen. Here we are. About 4 hours late, or about halfway through the trading day right now. So we'll go ahead and take a peek over here at what's going on in the market as the day is already in motion right now. Obviously, we started the day off pretty climatic over there. Bitcoin, I believe it got as high as like 45,600. Let's take a peek. 45.5 is how high Bitcoin ended up getting this morning. Looking over there at those stock index, the Dow Jones Industrial Average 1.27% away from its 4.236 extension, and the Nasdaq, dear goodness, dear goodness, a mere at one point within 0.08% of its 4.236 extension, currently right now 0.24. And of course, that's if I've got it measured right? Like I have taken these things and tried to get as minuscule as possible, where I'll go down here and we'll zoom in and zoom in and zoom in to where I'm trying to get within the decimal point of the actual. Let's see how close I am in here. There we go. I'm trying to be as close as I possibly can in here. You can see that 4816.35, 4816.34. I mean, we're still right on the button there. So I've tried to get this measurement right on point, as close as I can without it being an approximate. So we have seen the NASDAQ get within, what did we say earlier, 0.08% of the 4.236 extension. Again, we've seen these things before. You saw it over there in Bitcoin. You saw it in Ethereum. They both kind of peaked a little bit above it. But as we know, we're right up in there. So all eyes on that to see if there's any reaction in there. Of course, all eyes on Bitcoin to see how this is going to play out right in here. Of course, with where Bitcoin is at right now, the big concern for Bitcoin at this point with this, with this particular move right here is just, retracement and continued correction, right? That's just kind of where we're at with where we are right now. We're almost at a 702 retracement. The 702 retracement is at 45,900. So, what do? We set a new daily low, right? You set a new daily low that breaks trend. That's the first time we've had new daily lows in the entire trend up here. And then when we get back to retracement levels, of course, this is where, all right, do we go in for a further correction from here at this point, right? For examples of that, of like daily lows that eventually lead to new ones, kind of like this, right? What do? You go back into retracement levels after you have the new daily low. You go back to the retracement levels, and then you head down. As you can see, like in this one, it did get above the 618, kind of like where we're at now. Pulls back, and then goes and hits that 702. An example of that is like right back in here. Our brains don't actually comprehend that happening right in here, just because the amount of time that draws out to see that. We can't really visually see it. But what you do see here is you see the daily highs climbing in here, the daily lows. And then we get a new lower low that happens right in here. And then we go back to 702 retracement, right? And then we end up turning over right now. So of course, this is like the thing. I'm not cheering for this, right? But this is what technical analysis is. This is how we look at things. And this is retraces. There's a reason why 702 is all over the place everywhere. It's not because 702 is a moon thing. 702 is like a deciding factor, a deciding level, right? So we're getting back into this decision-making level of how Bitcoin is going to react from right here. So these, of course, are the times where I'm just like watching like a hawk, and then at the same time thinking to myself, oh, God, the NASDAQ. And, you know, that's why currently right now I do sit in a 20% cash position right now in my crypto portfolio with a hedge over there in the United States stock market, which is short right now. I don't cheer for Bitcoin to go down. I don't cheer for anything to go down. But when we're in these positions right in here, these are just the cards we're dealt with right now, right? 2022, 2023, we're all like, we're in Wyckoff accumulation. You know, it's just accumulate and wait for the thing to shoot its way on up there. Now we get up in here, you know, we've climbed for a long time, and now we set a daily low. Now we're back in a retrace. This is just the hand we're dealing with right now. And now it's time to see how the market will actually react at this time as we're back into this retracement level right here. So, of course, I'm cheering for it to go to the upside, but I just showed you multiple examples where this can be a major problem right in here. So all eyes on this for the next several days moving forward. Of course, that would say, hey, what's going to happen with the altcoin market in here? Will this range still continue going on longer in here, right? You would think it would if there is a serious rejection that does show up in there at that time. XRP, still just no major reaction coming out of these levels as of yet. We've already looked over here at total 2. I don't know why I have this on here twice. We've already looked at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, how close it is to that 4.236, and the NASDAQ. Again, these are those things of confluence. Those are those things where you scratch your head a little bit because you say, hey, look, the NASDAQ is measured from the year 2000, right? It's not measured like the Dow Jones, which is measured from the year 2007. Right. So that's also what is fascinating about these two things occurring at the exact same time. The Dow Jones is measured from the peak here in 2007 and the trough or the bottom of 2009. The one over there in the NASDAQ, the peak is in the year 2000 and the trough is in 2002. These are two different time periods being measured on here, and yet we land at the same extension levels for both indexes from different time periods. So just kind of keeping an eye out for those narratives right now. As for the DXY, still just hanging out in this range. No big move over there. Gold down about $1, whereas silver is up 35 cents. This is a topic we'll probably be covering pretty soon, in that you guys know it because we've gone through history a lot, to show that inverse relationship of bull runs between gold and between the United States stock market, and that correlated relationship between crypto and between the United States stock market. One thing that is very peculiar here, I could tell you right now, one thing that would be making me be like, I don't have any worries about the stock market at all as well. If this thing was crumbling and crashing down from here right now, that would be a really good sign. But the fact that it's actually holding itself up high up in here, this is just like what it was like before the great financial crisis. This is just what it was like before COVID, that it kept holding up there near those highs, even though those indexes kept going up a little bit higher. So there's still no signal from gold yet to say good or bad. But the big thing that would be the alarm, just if we just use COVID, or if we use the great financial crisis as the example, the big alarm would be if you saw gold go up while like the Dow or the NASDAQ suddenly do a big pullback right in here. That would be the alarming thing. We'd go diving into that, all over that. We don't have that yet, but just know, like, there's a reason why gold gets pulled up here every single day. It's not, yes, I do own gold. I don't actually even own gold hoping that the price of gold goes up. It's another hedge play, right? It's another thing of saying, hey, if we enter a great financial crisis, or if we enter a COVID situation or something like that, this asset did well, right? So it's just a hedge on the other side. But the reason we pull it up every day is because understanding that inverse relationship, and if some signal gets flashed from here in gold, then there becomes something concerning to talk about. But we know those indexes are up there really high. We know Bitcoin's getting back to these retracement levels. I get it. On Twitter, it's going to be just ultimate excitement. If we can get through there, hip, hip, hooray. Let's go Bitcoin, right? I'm not going to buy any more Bitcoin. I'm super exposed to the market as it is. And I've done all the math, right? And I've gone through the history of the crypto market a bajillion times to know I'm not interested in chasing the percentages of Bitcoin. I'll chase it elsewhere in the market. So I'm definitely cheering for Bitcoin to do well. But I also recognize where we are at. We are at the 618 retracement level, which is what this whole thing was. And then recognizing we're here, right? So I know we all want it. We're bored. I'm bored. We've been here for 2 months. I'm bored. I'm ready for the price to get moving and to get doing something. If you're wanting to see a signal of that happening, probably the first thing we would want to see is at least Bitcoin be able to clear through here. And this not become some type of rejection level for us to still be stuck in here for a longer period of time. So it's actually a pretty pivotal moment right now where we're at now that we've actually finally gotten back to here, because this is where decisions can happen. And you guys who have watched the channel for a long time, I talk about it all the time. The dumb money zone. It's right in between, right in between the retracement levels, and trading and buying or selling in the middle. You just don't have any risk mitigation to do. When you get back to retracement levels, you at least have rules and boundaries of where you could say, hey, these things are starting to break. We're now getting to the area. This is where a lot of the sell pressure will come in here for Bitcoin, and to see if we can get through that sell pressure happening right there. So for me, I'm not letting my guard down right here. Definitely caution right here. If we can get through here, hip, hip, hooray. One of the things we talked about yesterday in Markets in the Morning was just like this over here for the total altcoin market cap, and kind of showing yesterday. I don't have it on here today. Maybe I have it on total 3. Let's go look. I do. Right. We were talking here about what a contracting triangle on top of an accumulation range looks like. Right. We did the wave counts happening in here. I even said yesterday, they're probably going to go up. But the question is ABC, right? Do we keep going? Right. Do we keep going for a longer period of time? So nothing to celebrate right now. If anything, biting the fingernails and probably cheering for positive price action, and with where we are right now. But this is the area. Right. I'm never going to tell you guys what to do. Right. It's one of the things I don't do on the channel. I don't tell you when to buy. I don't tell you when to sell. I'll be vocal about it when I'm making big moves. But I definitely feel good about having some cash on the sides right now, just with where we are right now. If this thing turns over and this correction becomes a little bit deeper, this is like the opportune area of where traders take that shot at, if you catch my drift. Okay. Moving on. Total 3. There you go. We're still just rocking along. Hopefully we get the break. XRP still waiting for a move. Hey, we're at 51.7 though. I mean, we'll take that. It's a little bit of an improvement over there from what we have been seeing. I'm actually going to be doing a Twitter Spaces with XRPP, or XRP, the standard productions. We're going to be talking about XRP. We're going to talk about the DEX, the decentralized exchange that's built into there to the XRP ledger today. If you guys wanted to go hang out over there on Twitter, that'll be in about an hour and a half from right now. But otherwise, this week, of course, keeping close eyes over there on the stock market, which it's a little bit mixed today. And the NASDAQ is up 46 points, while the Dow is down 36. They're both very close to those 4.236 extensions. DXY still shuffling around. Gold, no signal from gold as of yet. As for actual news that's out there in the world today, now that we're halfway through the day, ARM shares soar over 60% after company reports strong earnings and forecast. Here we go. I'm going to admit it. I have no idea what ARM is. S&P 500 is little changed, hovers near 5,000 milestone. Disney shares spiked 12% after earnings beat an Epic Games deal. Surprised they didn't put on here Taylor Swift coming to Disney Plus. Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour, coming to Disney Plus on March 15th. New Kia Carnival minivan will be offered as a hybrid and maintain its SUV design. Supreme Court skeptical of Trump ballot disqualification by Colorado. I'm going to go ahead and pause right there. And can we all acknowledge that here we are in mid-afternoon? How strong my voice is right now? I'm killing it. Okay, here we go. Bloomberg. Trump speaks after Supreme Court wraps hearing on ballot ban. Trump ballot clash thrusts Supreme Court. Explainer, 14th Amendment. Okay, what's next after Trump was denied immunity? Okay, Ukraine's army chief leaves after rift with Zelensky. Okay, Bloomberg. We're supposed to be doing finance here. What's going on? Stock fatigue kicks in after S&P 500 hits record. Markets wrap. Einhorn says market fundamentally broken by passive quant investing. I see. I know how to say that word now. Quant. I've always called it quaint. Or is that how you're supposed to say that one? I don't even know. Wall Street gets seat at private credit table with Ardonog deal. A 99% bond wipeout hands hedge funds a harsh lesson on China. All right, moving on. Now we're going to look at crypto news. US, we'll start with editor's choice. Spot Bitcoin ETF superior to gold ETF. Core Scientific founder. Bitcoin price nears 45,500 as altcoins tease historic breakout. Real life Doge at 18, mean that's going to the moon. The writers at Saturday Night Live need to learn about debanking. This WordPress crypto widget plugin can leak sensitive information. Oh, careful with your WordPress plugins. U.S. crypto miners challenge EIA's energy usage survey. Bitcoin has 10 days max until Bitcoin price metric hits squeeze zone. Whoa. SEC institutes proceedings on Invesco Galaxy Spot Ether ETF, pushing the deadline. Ethereum short-term price action may take traders by surprise. Here's why. I do think Ethereum's back above 2,400. Huawei researchers say giving AI a body is the next step toward human-level agents. Yeah, it's going to be wild. We'll probably see that in our lifetime. We probably will. All right, there you go. Bitcoin, moment of truth. Can you get a break? Will we find a third range boundary into the retracement levels here after the daily lower low? I'm cheering for you, Bitcoin. Don't think otherwise, Bitcoiners. All right, there we go. Crypto Prepper. Glad all is well with you, BCB. Had us worried this morning. It's just not the same without you. Thanks for all that you do. Thank you very much that I am a part of your day. Yeah, I don't know how much I want to share about this morning. Like, everything is okay. Like, everything is fine. It was like two completely separate events that ended up happening. One of them, a technical issue that I had, and the other one, a little bit of a family issue that I had. Just briefly, my son hurt his elbow yesterday. And it was like, he was really babying it, and we didn't know what to think about it at the time. And then he was completely fine the rest of the day, and it was like, all right, whatever, man, you're fine. Whatever. He's tough. He gets hurt all the time. Like, it's just part of his normal stuff. And then this morning he was really whining and complaining about it. And so what I'm trying to do is set up a new computer. I'm trying to put a new computer here into the office and migrate over to not work on this one anymore. So I'm now back on my old PC, but was getting my new PC. It not necessarily new, but it's newer than what I'm using. And I had like a Microsoft Visual C++ issue, and I still haven't corrected it. So I had to take apart the stuff I needed to take apart. I had to put this computer completely back together, and we're back on this one. So that just didn't work out. And then the complications of my son this morning, with all that stuff going on, it was just, it just made it. I didn't even have an operating computer to be able to operate on. And so there was another issue going on that was delaying my ability to get things up and running. So hopefully that doesn't be like I don't think my son's going to be an issue, but hopefully this computer thing, I can get it sorted out by tomorrow. Of course, I do have somebody helping me try to troubleshoot all the things that I have going on in the other computer because unfortunately I deleted some files that I shouldn't have deleted. Oh boy. But yeah, all is well. I am fine. My family is fine. If my son's elbow's in trouble, he'll be okay. I think he's all right. But yeah, we're all good. We're all good. Thank you, though. I'm glad to be a part of your day. Gator gifted 5 BCB memberships. Brother Gator, thank you very much. Ron Adopter, Gator, I appreciate it, man. 702. Ron Adopter says, hey, what XRP and alt should do if Bitcoin goes down from 702 correction? And it's, hopefully with XRP, it finds like some type of bounce before that happens, and then it can kind of absorb it. If we start taking out the lows here on XRP, we have no real structure to go off of except for saying we're going to be down here a much longer time. Right, that's just ABC structures. If we take it down and we start taking out lower lows on XRP, long time, right? Like there's been very few XRP videos. There'll be just nothing to talk about with XRP. There's something to talk about here. This is a historical support level. This is a good support level. If Bitcoin goes down and if we see total 3 pull back deeper in here, you're going to expect most of the altcoins are going to end up having pullbacks right here. We're in a very, very complicated spot right now. It is not as simple as what we've had back in here, where it's just a Wyckoff accumulation, waiting for that, right? Now we get the sign of strength. Now it's how big is this thing going to be over here and waddle back and forth. And it's what we talked about earlier when we're like, everybody's high on dopamine, right? Everybody's got the drugs just pumping through their brain and not emotionally capable of 40, 50% corrections happening in here, which happen all the time on the way up. We have them all the time of these 40 and 50% corrections. And a lot of these coins have already. They've gone down 40% and back up 30%. So a lot of them have already done it. But if Bitcoin liquidates, we're probably going to see this thing have to come back down to this level too. So let's not hope for that, right? And that's why I have a 20% cash position, right? So if I have to deploy it, I'll deploy it. If I don't get to deploy it, I will be happier that I don't have to deploy it. I will be completely fine with it and say, good deal. There's a couple of things I've been meaning to buy. I'm going to go buy those things, just not re-enter it in. That's just how it's going to end up being. But otherwise, hopefully this thing just waddles along. Like examples of like just how long these things can go on in here too. Like it could be minimized in here, right? And it could just last a long time throughout here. This is a really great example of the sign of strength phase from back in 2020, right? Where we just sat on top right in here and it sat here for a long time. Let's see how long we are right now compared to that. There you go. That can kind of give you a clue on how long we sat there in 2020 before we ended up going, right? So you could see in this one, it has like the ABC, and then just waddles along for a long time in here. And I'm not saying that's what it's going to be, but I mean, that's how they can go, right? And I would think if Bitcoin liquidates, that would be like our best case scenario. That would be epic. That would be wonderful. Dudern, hi, longtime listener, love your content, and you help keep my head straight in all situations. Where does the 4.236 fib get invalidated? Thanks. Well, one thing we don't really pull up on here is we don't pull up the breadth, right? So like what we're seeing happening in the United States stock market is very similar to what we actually saw happen in the crypto market back in 2021, right? If you guys remember the reality of the market, which is a hard lesson to learn, this is actually the peak of the market, right? This is when Elon Musk goes on Saturday Night Live. This is when all the celebrities are getting paid to shill whatever coin over there on Twitter. This is the Dogecoin stuff. This is everything. This is the market top right in here for like over 90% of coins that end up happening in here. And then it's only a selected few that go on up here. Like the breadth of the market really thins out, and it's only a few that end up going for it when we get up in here. And that's also what we're experiencing over there in the stock market right now. that, what do they call it, the Magnificent Seven, account for 45% of it, of like the all-time highs. Right. So like what we're not seeing is the rest of the market. And like you could see that over here, like with the Russell, right? Um, right. So the Russell still sits down here in accumulation at the same time. Right. So like if we see the big things I'd be looking for is to see, one, the breadth come back into the market, right? Rather than just being so concentrated into the top 10, see the rest of the market open up as well. And then at the same time, see gold falter. I really want to see gold falter because it's doing exactly what it has done in each time with COVID and with the great financial crisis when we were in the hiking cycle, the pause cycle, and then right before we get into the cutting cycle, gold's sitting up here near the all-time highs, stock market hits its top, and boom, gold goes and pops up in there. So we want to be looking for more than like just that. There's confluence here. See this failure happening over here at the exact same time, and then see the breadth open up over there in the rest of the market as well. Otherwise, we have pretty much the same thing happening in here of like what we saw with crypto back in 2021, where it's very isolated of who's in the all-time highs, and it's being taken like stuff like Nvidia, which I think is a $1.7 trillion market cap. I think I saw something the other day saying that like it's, what is the market cap of Nvidia? $1.74 trillion. Do you know what the market cap of Google is? 1.81. Nvidia is somehow almost worth more than Google. I think it's got like 75 PE ratio. I think they've got like $40 billion in assets with a $1.74 trillion asset valuation. So it's very isolated of where this is all happening at. The difficult thing about saying, hey, we have to literally hit the 4.236 on the actual pinpoint button and then immediately reject from there. Well, we have seen things like that happen in crypto. And we do have the confluence of that happening between the Dow and between the NASDAQ, like I've shown, two completely different time frames. And somehow, like they're measured, like both points are different time frames. The peak is measured from 2007. The trough is measured from 2009. The peak is measured from 2000. The trough is measured from 2002. 1% away from their 4.236 extensions between the both of them at the exact same time. That's some crazy confluence. Crazy to pay attention to. But like when we look at things like Ethereum, you look at things like Bitcoin, did they pinpoint nail it? Do we typically see where they react right on the money, where they pinpoint nail them and then reject? They usually don't. They're usually going to go a little bit above, a little bit below, and waddle all around them. It's very, very rare to just hit them and go. So something, if we get through it, right? If we get through it right here, then the big question, you're going to see everybody screaming. You're going to see everybody wondering, is that it? Are we through it? Does that mean we're gone and we're done? This is the sign we would like to look for. This is the sign that should falter. And it should be gold to say it's not rejecting up here. It's failing, or it's breaking out because gold is failing. And that's just how each one of these have happened. When we go back and we look through each one of the breakouts for gold, we'll go through that another time. So, because I've gone through all of this very recently, privately, that this is the big storyteller. If there's a true breakout for the NASDAQ, if there's a true breakout for the Dow, this should be the signal. This should be it. Right now, though, it is acting exactly like it acted prior to the great financial crisis, prior to COVID, prior to all that stuff. And remember, guys, before we ended up getting here, what was the thing we were always looking at here on the channel? This. We were always looking at this because this was a fake, right? This was the fake out before the great financial crisis. And gold, geez, can I get that? We can do it. We could do it. And gold is still acting just as it did in this moment. So you want to see gold fail. That will be the big thing. Big shroom. Oh, wait. I got to go back. Thank you, Dunern. Molly86, please don't miss mornings live because when you're not here, I had to listen to my wife talk. Oh. Well, I'm sorry that that's a negative thing for you, brother. I love my wife. My wife, when she talks to me, I listen very attentively at all times because she's great. All right, big shroom. Love you, BCB. It's been a while. About the Monero dip, but then I lost it in a boating accident. Oh no, how sad. Right on, man. Yeah, how's Monero doing today? Is it still? I think it was still holding okay. How did that daily volume do? I think it looked good. The highest daily buying volume since the top. The only day that's ever beaten it out was the peak, where people bought the top. Right? I always remember that, guys. It's how we always talk about, like, retail is going to always be on the wrong side. You could see that at the bottom, right, the most selling volume in history had occurred there. At the peak, you have the most buying volume in history. Then it sells off aggressively, and then the days at the bottom, the most selling volume happens in here. And that's how you get bottoms marked. It's by the last sellers getting exhausted, the last bulls buying the peak, right? That's just how these things go. But so, like, look over here. How much volume did we have? So take a peek at that. These two. It'll be interesting for Monero. That's COVID, right? Massive selling, the next day buying. And for those who have seen me go through buy and sell reversal volumes, right? That's your classic, right? The most buying followed by the most selling. What do you have? The most selling followed by the most buying. What do you have? The most selling in history. Then the buying exceeded that of the buying that happened here. And the only day that there's been more buying volume was the day of the peak of the market. So, but what it doesn't mean these things are going to turn around really quick, and we'll see what happens for Monero. This is just technical stuff. It held the lows just right. Volumes the size of COVID, and buy volume exceeding that of COVID. So good luck, Monero, man. The last true degeness of what crypto represents. I did see somebody post about it today, and I liked her post. A girl gone crypto. She had posted about Monero. It's like one of the few people I've seen actually do it. And I know she's an OG because she's been around for a very long time, and she had said stuff about Monero. So good for her. Feral Minx. BCB, I'm curious why the Dow chart, is there a reason that you have the 1920 run-up crash starting at the 702 and not at the 1? Right, so I have not modified these, right? I get that question quite often. So this is just starting at the bottom. We're starting from the same exact location of where the bottom was, right? So this is not modified for size. It is exactly, literally copied and pasted from exactly there. There's nothing that has been adjusted with this chart, okay? So what we're watching is to say, how high did this thing go? This thing ended up running up, a little over 500%. How high have we run up since the great financial crisis? 500%. That also happens to be the exact size of what the roaring 20s were before the Great Depression. And it happens to also be the 4.236 extension based on our past range, right? So this is just the range of current location, right? So if I abstractly say, I want to start this from right here, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. We're just saying, how high has it risen, right? How high were the roaring 20s? The roaring 20s started right there. That's where they ended. It also happens to be the 4.236 extension of this range, and we happen to meet that currently right now. So you have just a couple of confluences to watch out for right now. Again, I'm not cheering for this. Like, dear God, if this thing breaks out and it just keeps going up and I'm just lost, like, dude, I don't even know what to think of this thing anymore. It's just shooting to the upside. Believe me, that is what I'm cheering for. I'd much rather come on here and just be like, I don't know what's going on. It's just shooting to the moon. We're never going down, right? Like, I'll take that all day. But this is just the hand we have right now. And whatever anybody chooses to do here, that's up to you and how you're going to do it. You don't have... Everybody has the ability to have hindsight after this moment. That's the challenge of doing any of this, right? With any of this, we're doing it live, we're doing it real time, and we're living in the actual moment. You are currently living in the actual moment right now. Do you know what's going to happen next? No. Do I know what's going to happen next? No. I can guess based on what historically happens here, and we can see confluences for it. So we can all make our best guess, but after this moment passes us by, there's no do-overs. You know what I mean? So anybody who's like, you said it would go up or you said it would go down, here you are, you're in your moment. Do whatever you want to do. You're not going to get do-overs, right? If you're going to take the shot that it's going to shoot through there and keep on going, you stay 100% long, good for you, man. And if it breaks through, boom, you got it right. If it pulls back from here and falls, there's no do-overs, right? You get the price, what they say, you get the price that you deserve, right? We're living in the moment. Good luck, right? To everybody, man. I wish everybody good luck. I hope whatever decisions you make end up being the right ones. This is just where we are right now. And that's what makes the future, the near-term future, exciting or scary. I cheer for exciting all day. I cheer for exciting. But I'm not going to say, hey, you know what? This time, this doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter this time. Because it very well could. It very well could. So, there you go. All right. Yo, BCB from Cesar Mirando. Are you watching the Tucker Carlson interview today? I probably won't catch it live because I don't know what time it's coming on. I don't catch most things live, except for the Federal Reserve. Otherwise, I just kind of do it, whenever I have some free time. Maybe, he'll probably post it online so I can watch it at some point, right? But I don't even know what time it's at. Again, I don't even, I hope you all know, I just don't watch media either, right? Like, I don't watch the news. Pretty much my daily dosage of news is whatever's going on Twitter. And whenever we're doing markets in the morning and I'm kind of reading those headlines and kind of cracking jokes about them. Gary Guan, is Coinbase finishing its C leg? Do you still see it hitting the 618? Yeah, so Coinbase came back and hit its support, right? Did it actually hit it? It did. All right, so it's now hit support, right? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down. It has likely found support for the time being. Now the question of rolling back up and getting a deeper retrace to come back into Coinbase, and then treating that as a third range boundary. CP nasty. Hey BCB, would you be salty with me? My average in Tau is 19 after staking, thanks to the BCB crashing structure. I don't know what. I haven't sold any and I'm up a few million. Please slap me with some truth. Hodl or flip? Jeez. First of all, I'm never going to tell you what to do. But if you find yourself emotionally drunk, here's the biggest problem with it. Our brains just always tell us that, what if it 10x's? Or what if it crashes another 90%? And our emotions typically are influenced with one or the other with recency bias. If you start pounding yourself with the feeling of it being December of 2022 right now, and you think it's going to crash 90%, those emotions, go hit yourself with those emotions really hard. How would you feel right now? For me, look, and for me, it's always just like, what can I take off the table right now and not care? What can I take off and not care if it crashes or if it moons? Right? Like, if it crashes, I say, oh, thank God, I took some off the table. Now I can buy this opportunity. And if it moons, I say, well, thank God I didn't sell all of it. Right? That's kind of how I think. And then there's times where, like, I'll go all in, right? Like when we were down there in Wyckoff accumulation, I was all in. LFG. But when I always get so scared when prices get really high. When prices get really high, it's where all the nervousness comes in. Quinchones, with Bitcoin leading most pumps right now, is there enough time for the alts to go into new all-time highs and Bitcoin not go much further than an ETF high? I don't know if Bitcoin's leading pumps, right? Bitcoin could still just be waddling sideways here for weeks on end, months on end even. So the question is time, right? I don't know about time. But if it continues just waddling sideways, I would still think we have until rate cuts. Unless if we're going to get this thing over with faster. Where are you, Bitcoin? You're not on here. Here we go, more like this. It finally got here, because remember, this didn't get down as deep as we thought. Right, that it actually gets that deeper dip. And then more. Then Ryan Chase, hey BCB, I heard you mention Multiverse X as a top development activity project. What do you think about it? Also, have we find the dev info on Sentiment? Thank you. Sure. I know nothing about Multiverse X. I just like you, I see it on Sentiment, right? So you just go to Sentiment, get started, screener on the top left, right here. Here's your list. Dev 30-day activity, sort it right here. Then you'll get to see what has the most development activity on it at a time. So see, there's Multiverse X, number 16, right? Not really like in the top 10, but in the top 16. Cardano, Polkadot, Internet Computer, Optimism, HBAR, Atom, S&T, Ethereum, SUI, Chainlink. Those are your top 10. Andy Philpott. Thank you, Ryan. But I don't know enough about it. I just don't. Andy Philpott gifted a BCB membership. Andy, thank you, sir. Jack, so buy Shiny Rocks and Dow reverse ETFs? I don't get that. Maybe so. Thank you, Matt. We have two different Matts. And Matt Earns, thank you for showing up today. Tucker will air the interview at 6 p.m. Eastern time. If Bitcoin does liquidate, where is the next support for XRP? If XRP takes this out, it may not be all the way down to 38 cents. And in that circumstance, the question then looms, how long is XRP going to be in here? This is a structure you can live with. What is happening right now is completely doable, right? You have Elliott wave counts of ABC, 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 and then what do we look for in wave E on the last leg of A, B, C, D, E contracting Elliott wave triangle? What do you look for in E? You don't look for your standard ABC. You look once again for another contracting triangle to show up in there and crash, retrace, reaccumulation. So we don't want to take out that low. If we take out that low, just how long will this be in here? Could be a long time. But otherwise, still structurally, it's completely fine with where it's at. Completely fine. But this is the style we should be looking for in here in the E wave of a long contracting triangle, is that you should be looking for that where C doesn't actually go set a new low. We're looking for contraction happening in here. So hopefully not. If not, the picture is very, very, very difficult for XRP at that point. But okay, Tucker Carlson at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah, see, that's just a difficult time for me. I got kids, man. I don't know. I'll tell you about my life, guys. So you get like an experience of what it's like to be BCB, because you may realize that it's just very similar to probably what a lot of you deal with. Daddy, hey, Daddy, yeah. What's going on? Do you like my car? Yeah, I love it, man. Very nice. Hey, Daddy, you want to play? Oh, okay. What do you want to play? Let's kick the ball. Okay, cool. Or throw him, or do whatever. And then the other kid wants to play Roblox, and the other kid wants to watch TV. And like, just here, this is probably the same thing, because it's the same. It's for me. It can't be me alone, right? I'm gonna relate to a lot of you real quick who have kids. You have kids in like that, newborn to age 14 or 15 years old. Like when, isn't it awesome when you lay down in bed? You're like, I'm here. Turn the TV on. I'm in bed. That is literally the best time of the day. That moment you get into bed and all children are put down. My gosh. All right. CP Nasty says, any other project I would flip, but the tokenomics on this are best in the game. BitSensor is Tau. I'm lost. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, have you done any research on anything else in the market? Like, have you gone through all the developer activity stuff? Have you gone through all the ones that have the most total value locked and all those different things, right? And if you've, the hard thing too is if you've been in something that's gone up really drastically in a short amount of time and you rotate, are you also in that biasness of needing something to move immediately right away because you made a decision, right? Especially if you're so indecisive about it, you're going to make a move and you're going to want to hope that move pays off very quickly. When you're that indecisive, then you suddenly start getting like, did I do the right thing? I did the wrong thing. And you start making irrational decisions and stuff like that. So maybe it's just finding a little bit of inner peace on how to handle that. What can you live with? That's what I say to myself, right? Like, all right, if I sell 10% of this thing and it fires up 100%, am I going to be mad? If I sell 20% of this thing and it fires up 100%, am I going to be mad? What if I sell 40% of this and it goes up 100%? I might be a little mad then. Then that might cross a threshold where I'm kind of mad. Like I'm messed up. Right? And then the opposite is the same to the other side, right? Like, all right, if Bitcoin fumbles over here and it takes the market down with it, it's it's just the same thought I'm having right here. If it goes up, like if I sell 10%, it goes up, will I be mad? If it sells 20%, it goes up, will I be mad? 30%, 40%, will I be mad? And then you have to like find that also equal balance in yourself to say, oh, I wish I sold more. And then like you find this piece within yourself of saying, look, just like we were talking over there with the NASDAQ, this is the information you have at hand right now, and you just don't get do-overs, right? Like that's just not the way markets work. You're operating in real time, and you don't know what the next result is going to be. So we go back, we find historical behavior of what these things have done historically, and we try to make decisions based off that information, hoping that it's right, right? But you don't get a do-over if this thing turns over and pulls down right in here. So finding that balance of knowing sometimes we're just in complicated scenarios. We're not in super simple ones anymore. It's a little more difficult right here. And sometimes you just have, for me, I have to mitigate a little bit at that, knowing this is a much more dicier thing that could happen. Either it could fire off and break or reject really hard from right in here. And the perfect answer, of course, what everybody wants is to say, be the fortune teller, know exactly what's going to happen here, and either sell 100% of your bag or be 100% long. And that's just not how it works at this level. It's just not how it works. Matt, hey BCB, I've watched your Ethereum videos. Can you comment on what you think short-term action looks like? Well, it depends on how short-term your short-term is. So this is again an optimistic sign on Ethereum, but the question does still remain in here: is there a pullback into this level? Right? I have not sold any of my Ethereum at all. Okay. Still long, fully long XRP, still fully long Ethereum. And Cardano, guys, right? Those are my top three. Looks good. Looks good. The big thing in here is this an ABC that's going to continue longer. I'd like to get through the moment where we're at right now with Bitcoin to feel more at ease. Just anybody who watches this channel should know that from a genuine place, I have to sit here and be like this at that level to say, okay, we kind of got a thing we got to get through here. You got that. You got those indexes. We got to get through this moment right in here. But for Ethereum, I haven't sold in it. I don't think Ethereum's crashing in any way. I'm fully long. I haven't sold 10%. Right. I think if I sold 10%, I'd be mad at myself. That's how I feel about it. I feel about that. However, it does not mean I won't sell some when it gets to the retracement levels, right? Third range boundary, mitigating risk. But right here, barely above the 382. No, I'm not doing anything with it right now. I hear clear. Yo, BC, what do you think about BCH forming a contracting triangle and its multi-year contracting triangle? Thanks for all that you do. Yeah, it's still holding the lows, but man, yeah, we'd need to see a dang miracle, right? You'd have to see some narrative shift or something, I would think. When we look back to what mattered in 2021, sometimes we just gotta, just be honest with ourselves to say this was a changing market. We got a lot of things wrong in 2021, right? One, the timing of it, and like what we're talking about right now with the stock market and the breadth not being there, right? That we saw that in crypto as well, and that the peak of the market was right here. This was the peak. It does not matter that these things poked a little bit higher. Over 90% of the market peaked back in here. And that's why you get catching a lot of people by surprise that we shifted back up and what we did, because everybody's referencing this as the actual peak in the market, but we know that the peak was back in here, and that all those things topped back in here, right? And like, why didn't they go setting new highs in here, right? Because we've never seen that before in crypto. We've never seen Bitcoin set a new all-time high and the altcoin market not go do it with it. Never. It's never happened before, but it happened in 2021. And why, right? Because the peak of the market was in May. And then we have to say, why didn't everything go? And that's what all those newsletters have been about, diving into all that data from the past to say, what the heck happened? And what did the chosen ones have amongst them that was consistent? Because it was only 17 out of the top 100 that set new all-time highs. 17 out of the top 100. What happened? Because it was 9 out of 10 in 2017 in finding all that data. And so like when you say, BCH, maybe a miracle comes for it. Maybe like everything's a security except for Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Ethereum, and Bitcoin, and right, XRP or something, and there's some weird narrative like that we can't predict. I mean, maybe, but that's not consistent with like the data from 2021, right? The data from 2021 was selective in saying, hey, where was user activity levels at, or where was development activity at? Where were the users heading to? What created the new levels of excitement, right? So Bitcoin Cash does not fall in the reins of development activity or in the reins of user activity levels. So will it? Maybe. But does it match the criteria of like what mattered in 2021? It doesn't. Van Media. Hey, BCB, have you sold any ETH at these levels? And if not, what levels will you start? I think I kind of answered that, but probably there at like 33.75. I'd take some off the table, but it would be very little. Very little. Like the day that it's like where it's like, boom, like I've said, like getting my portfolio to 65% cash, right? Ethereum is still going to hold a very big spot in what I have, right? And it may be more things cut from other places and keeping Ethereum more weighted in there. But if you were going to treat it just straight as third range boundary areas of concern, there, right? Between, 3,300 and 3,800. But no, I haven't sold any. John FX, BCB, you mentioned that 10% of your portfolio is in new coins. Will you share the sources used to identify promising new coins, please? Maybe in the newsletter. Right, so I don't do many new coins because somebody asked about that the other day. Why don't you just get into all new coins? Well, because most of them are rug pulls, and they're not easy to get into. And I talked about that. I showed that example of Celestia, and I showed that example of SUI last week in there. Both of them are up. Celestia more than SUI. SUI, my bag is up about 200%, but the Celestia bag's up like 700 or 800%. But they're not easy to get into because you have no price history, right? And so the only metrics that I used on those to say, all right, something new is coming out and there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes and there's a lot of interest in it, was really looking at the Electric Capital developer reports. So when if you go through that developer report right now, you're going to see there is stuff that has lots of full-time developers on it, part-time, total. However, there's no coin that's released. And so having to stay up to date on it of when is that coming out. And that's the new stuff. That's how I find it, right? I do not let content creators sway me on what, they have already preloaded up with 10x leverage longs into to tell me about. Right? Like, and it's ranked number 500 with $30,000 of daily liquidity. That's how I'm doing it. I'm because I don't like to day trade. I don't like to do things every single day. It's just like not, I don't have the energy for that. I've gone through that. In 2017, I spent the whole year doing that. Tired of it, sick of it. The long-term holders were the ones who did the best. But yeah, that's how I found them. Developer report by Electric Capital. I saw SUI up there the day I went there to Consensus in 2023 in Austin. I'm like, what is that? I've never heard of it. I go looking for the token, looking for the coin, never find it. And then the day the coin, I didn't even know the coin was coming out. And then the day it did, it was all over Twitter. SUI gets released. And then like everybody released it day one. And that was another reassuring thing. So one thing about TIA and SUI is that even on the day one listings, a lot of times you'll see MEXC list anything, right? And then you'll see all these other exchanges kind of list anything. But the fact that like even Uphold listed SUI day one, Uphold, and Coinbase, and they listed Celestia day one. So these were things like I saw in the developer report, and then like they had already been vetted by the big boys in the United States to feel okay with listing them at the same time. So like it already had all that going for it. I was like, okay, we'll go for those. So those were other things that I did pay attention to. Not that it was just on the developer report, but that like, even when they got listed, the big boys, Coinbase and Kraken and Uphold, they were like, yep, let's go. We'll list that right away. I hope that helped, John. Peter, thanks, PCB, for everything you do. I came to the market as a dumb retail in 2020, but learned a lot from you since that. Well, thank you. We're still always learning, right? There's still always new things, new situations to deal with. 2022 proved that. But it's just try not to make the same mistakes twice, right? That's the goal. Learn from them, right? And not get caught up in the emotions. The emotions are always the hardest part. Capper says, BCB, do you hold any Bitcoin mining stocks? I don't, because I don't. If I was that into Bitcoin, which again, everybody, I own Bitcoin. I think it's still like number 4, my 4th largest holding, maybe 5th. But like if I was so passionate about Bitcoin, I'd rather own Bitcoin than Bitcoin mining stocks. One, I don't get it, how they're going to make money, especially when the difficulty level is doubled, right? And only half the supply is being issued out for miners. I don't know how they're going to make money. And it's another reason, like, I almost got into mining myself. Like, so, like, I just think of it from the aspect of trying to mine myself. Have you ever tried to mine yourself? And then you say to yourself, why? I almost did it. One time back in 2018, I had 6, I think they were AMD 470s or 480s or something like that delivered to the house because I was going to mine Ethereum. And I was really on the fence about it. I had 6 of them. I was going to build a rig. And then I ended up sending them back and not doing it. I'm like, I ran all the math on it. And I was like, you know what I'm better off doing? I'm just better off buying the dang Ethereum than I am putting this much money into it. And the difficulty keeps getting harder. And I'm going to get less and less Ethereum as every month passes by. How many months will it take for me to break even versus rather just buying the Ethereum today? And it came out to like 12 months or something. I was like, no, I'm not going to do all this work for 12 months to break even when I could just buy it. And so going through all that math, I just don't see how these mining companies are going to be profitable as things get harder and harder and all their depreciated equipment, the value of their equipment goes down and down. So I come from that bias perspective, and maybe that's the wrong thing to have with the mining stocks, but I just don't. No, I don't look at them, and that's not from a negative like Bitcoin perspective or negative crypto perspective. That comes from the thinking like a miner. Why I don't do it, because I don't get how they're going to be profitable. Maybe they have a plan. Maybe they've already addressed that, and I just haven't read about it. But you know. Darko 6 says, will you be accumulating Ethereum in the next bear market? Thanks. I'll be hanging out on my porch sipping iced tea in the mountains with a pond in my backyard with the, I won't say that word, with the, yeah, I'll be doing that with a protective device in my hands. No. I don't know. I'm not thinking that far ahead. I'm dealing with what's at hand right now. Texas takeover. There you go. Edward says, I did it and I broke even. I had fun. Build my own computers. Right. Like if you're a tech guy, like my brother-in-law is, if you're like a tech guy and you're kind of nerdy and you actually just have fun doing that, and it's like, I just want to actually go through the whole process of doing it. And like physically, there are people who really do enjoy doing that. And so you get a little bit extra out of that. That was not something I was like getting my rocks off to, you know, like it was work. I was like, oh, I don't know how to do any of this. I mean, like right now I'm having computer problems with my computer, like stupid, dumb things. And I'm like needing help. And I look like a child who doesn't know how to operate a computer, which, when I went to college, like I got a minor in networking. All these people helping me with my computer right now, like, what? No, you didn't. All right, here we go. We're at an hour. We're beyond time. We'll keep our eyes on this, guys. I really apologize for not making it in the morning. I do pride myself in always showing up, regardless of what's going on in the market, up, down, sideways, if we're bored and we have nothing to talk about, or if the sky is completely falling. We are not here just on the days where things are up and to the right, but we're here every day. And I do try to make that consistent. And like, there are of course days I can't make it, right? And I try to give you that advance notice. And so this one came with surprise, and I don't like it when that happens, but it was out of my control. But I'm glad we were able to get going here later on in the day. And I hope that you guys have had a good day. A little bit of green, the market doesn't hurt for that. And then we'll check in on everything again tomorrow morning. And I'm really surprised we ended up getting about 2,000 people, concurrent viewers here this late in the day. So thank you all for your support. Thank you all for showing up. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the memberships. 900 likes. Let's go. That's awesome this late in the day. Thank you guys. Of course, you can check out bcbacker.com for 40 more videos from me. And you can check out the newsletter over here on blockchainbacker.substack.com. There's links to both of them in the description of this live stream and in all of my videos. Otherwise, guys, I will check in with you tomorrow. That's going to be it. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this live stream and give it a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you could be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice, and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.